Imagine you wake up tomorrow and every piece of modern technology has stopped working. Your phone is dead. The internet is gone. Your bank card is now a useless rectangle. There is no GPS, no calculator, no search engine, and no digital assistant patiently pretending your question was perfectly clear. At first, you might feel inconvenienced. Then you leave your house. You cannot remember anyone's phone number. You do not know how to reach a place without following a blue line on a screen. You cannot access your money. And when something breaks, your first instinct is to search for a tutorial on the internet that no longer exists. Meanwhile, an ancient human who could track animals, recognize hundreds of plants, navigate using landmarks, and survive without electricity might look at us and ask, are these really the smartest humans who ever lived? It is an uncomfortable question. Technology has given us abilities our ancestors could barely imagine. But has it actually made humans smarter? Or has it simply made us extremely powerful, as long as all our machines continue working? To answer that, we need to go back to one of humanity's earliest technologies. Not the smartphone, not the computer, not even the wheel. A sharp stone. To an ancient human, a stone tool was not just an object. It was an extra tooth, an extra claw, and an extra hand. Humans were physically weaker than many predators. We could not outrun every animal, climb like a leopard or bite like a lion. But instead of waiting for evolution to give us sharper teeth, we picked up a rock and made our own. That was the beginning of a strange human strategy. Whenever our bodies reached a limit, we built something outside the body to overcome it. Our muscles were limited, so we created levers. Our eyes were limited, so we created telescopes. Our voices were limited, so we created telephones. And our brains were limited, so we began building tools for thinking. The first of these tools may have been something as simple as marks scratched onto wood, bone, or stone. Instead of keeping every number inside the mind, humans could place information in the outside world. 5 animals could become 5 marks. A journey could become a simple map. A promise could become a written agreement. Eventually, writing allowed information to survive after the person who discovered it had died. That changed everything. Before writing, important knowledge had to be remembered, demonstrated, and repeated. After writing, one person's thoughts could travel across generations. Humans no longer had to begin every life with an empty mental toolbox. A child could inherit ideas from people who had lived hundreds of years earlier. Technology had not necessarily made that child's biological brain larger or naturally more intelligent. It had connected the child to thousands of other brains. This is one of humanity's greatest advantages: cumulative culture. One person discovers something, another person improves it, a third person combines it with a different idea. Eventually, people are using technologies so complicated that no single person could have invented the entire system alone. Consider a smartphone. One person may understand how to design its camera. Another understands its battery. Others specialize in computer chips, software, satellites, glass, radio signals, or global manufacturing. Almost nobody understands the complete device from beginning to end. Yet billions of people can use one. That is the strange bargain technology offers us. Individually, we may understand less about how the world around us works. Collectively, we can achieve far more. Psychologists use the term cognitive offloading to describe what happens when we transfer mental work to something outside the brain. Writing down a shopping list is cognitive offloading. Setting an alarm is cognitive offloading. Using a calculator, calendar, or map is cognitive offloading. And this is not automatically a bad thing. The human brain has limited attention and working memory. When a tool handles a simple task, the brain can focus on something more difficult. A scientist does not become less intelligent because a computer performs 10,000 calculations. The computer may allow the scientist to investigate a question that would otherwise take several lifetimes. The danger begins when offloading becomes replacement. In a famous series of experiments published in 2011, researchers found that when people expected information to remain available on a computer, they were less likely to remember the information itself. Instead, they became better at remembering where it could be found. In other words, people were not simply forgetting. They were changing what they believed was worth remembering. Why memorize the answer when you can memorize the path to the answer? That strategy is efficient until the path disappears. Navigation provides an even clearer example. Researchers studying GPS use found that people with greater lifetime dependence on GPS tended to perform worse when they later had to navigate without it. GPS can get us to a destination quickly, but following instructions such as turn left in 200 meters does not always require us to build a detailed mental map. We arrive successfully without truly learning where we are. It is like being carried through a maze with your eyes closed. You reach the exit. But could you do it again alone? Calculators created a similar fear. People worried that calculators would destroy mathematical ability. And they can weaken basic skills when used before someone understands the process. But a calculator in the hands of someone who understands mathematics becomes an amplifier. The difference is not the tool. The difference is whether the person can judge the answer. If a calculator says that 3 times 4 equals 12,000, someone with basic understanding immediately knows something went wrong. Without that understanding, the machine's answer may look as trustworthy as any other. This brings us to artificial intelligence. For most of history, tools performed physical labor or stored information. AI can now generate explanations, images, plans, computer code, and written arguments. For the first time, many people are not only outsourcing memory or calculation, they are outsourcing parts of the thinking process itself. A 2025 study involving 319 knowledge workers found that generative AI often reduced the effort people felt they needed for critical thinking tasks. People who had greater confidence in the AI also reported using less critical thinking when working with it. That does not prove AI automatically makes people less intelligent. It reveals something more important. When a tool appears confident, helpful, and fast, humans may stop checking it. Researchers call this tendency automation bias, our habit of trusting an automated recommendation even when it is incomplete or wrong. Imagine a GPS directing a driver toward a flooded road. The driver can see the water. The road is clearly impossible to cross, but the calm electronic voice says, "Continue straight." At that moment, the most important intelligence is not knowing the route. It is knowing when to ignore the machine. So, did technology make humans smarter? Yes, but not in the simple way we usually imagine. Technology made humanity collectively smarter. It allowed knowledge to accumulate, travel, and combine. It gave an ordinary person access to more information than the greatest ancient libraries could hold. It allowed us to see distant galaxies, communicate across oceans, and solve problems too large for one unaided mind. But it also made individuals dependent on systems they often do not understand. A modern person can perform astonishing tasks while connected to technology and feel surprisingly helpless when that connection disappears. That does not mean we should abandon our tools and return to stone axes. Ancient humans were dependent too. They depended on fire, tools, shared knowledge, and other members of their group. Dependence is not the opposite of intelligence. Cooperation and tool use are part of human intelligence. The real danger is not using technology. It is using technology without preserving the ability to question it. A good tool should remove unnecessary effort while leaving human judgment awake. GPS can guide us, but we should still notice where we are. Calculators can handle arithmetic, but we should still understand numbers. Search engines can retrieve facts, but we should still evaluate sources. AI can suggest an answer, but it should not decide what we believe. Technology is most powerful when it acts like a bicycle for the mind. It helps us travel farther and faster, but we are still steering. The moment we stop steering, the bicycle has not made us smarter. It has simply decided where we are going. So perhaps the real question is not, did technology make humans smarter or more dependent? It did both. The real question is, can we remain smart enough to control the tools we have become dependent on? Because the future will not belong to humans who reject technology, and it may not belong to humans who blindly obey it. It will belong to those who know what to give the machine and what must always remain human.